Is it a hard watch? Was it a hard thing to do?
It was really sad, actually, and quite depressing. I mean, I've been working on this subject since Jo was murdered in 2016 through the foundation, the charity that was set up in her name, and now in my new role as an MP. And I think it's really important to have these conversations. It isn't about trying to make people feel sorry for MPs. That's not what we want. But what we've got to do is find a way of protecting our democracy, but also making sure that the people who are elected to public office feel safe to do their jobs.
I wish doing this interview we could say to you 6 years on from the most shocking murder of your sister, which all of us will never forget, that we are in a position where MPs and elected officials are safer than they were. Do you feel that is the case, though?
I think this is about the broader issue around political culture. And it is partly about making sure that MPs feel safe, but it's also looking at the threats, the intimidation, the abuse that has become normalised. So I think there's always been passion, there's always been anger around politics, and quite right too, actually. But it's how we channel that and how we make sure that it doesn't descend into personal threats, attacks and intimidation. I think politicians obviously should be held to account. I think we've also got to look at how we behave ourselves. And sadly, we've seen some pretty poor behaviour, and you've covered some of those stories this morning from people in public life in recent times. So it's taking that holistic approach to making politics a safe place to work, but also engaging people in politics. And, you know, while ever we see it being such a toxic place, I think we're losing people. We're losing good people. And the documentary interviews a couple of MPs who have quoted the abuse and threats and intimidation as reasons for stepping down. I think we've got to look at how we can get good people to come into politics, you know, women, people from different backgrounds. And if they're looking at it and thinking, you know, that doesn't look like a safe place to work, it doesn't look like a particularly pleasant place to work, then they're not going to do that. We've got to look at social media, we've got to look at the mainstream media, and we've got to look at that general anger in society, because it's not just MPs. You know, we see sports people getting abuse and threats. We see, sadly, people in really important profession like nurses and the police and taxi drivers, even shop workers, getting abuse on a daily basis. So we've got to look holistically about the kind of society that we want to live in. And I hope this documentary is a bit of a starting point to do that.